All right, John. Hello and welcome to Eat, Sleep, Code, the official Telerik podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbeneau. With me today is my co-host, John Bristowe. How are you, John Bristowe?
I do great, as they say. I hope everyone else out there is doing well as well. And yeah, lots of stuff to talk about today.
I'm trying to throw a little excitement in there. I am stinging from a vicious attack from mosquitoes a few minutes ago when I stepped outside. So if you see a red mark on the side of my face, it is because of those evil insects that they jumped me and stole my wallet and took my dignity. So
okay, all right.
it was a brutal beating, but I'm trying to get over it.
Yes.
I have my cortisone cream, and I'll be okay. I think I'll make a full recovery, John.
Yeah, this sounds like
on the edge of your seat about that.
It sounds like that episode of Seinfeld where George is talking about the sea was angry that day, my friends, like an old man trying to return a soup at a deli.
Absolutely. We talked about Windows 11 like probably about 2 weeks ago. We had a vacation last week, both of us. So last show we talked about Windows 11.
Yes.
And on the lovely interwebs, somebody has, it says here, a student gets Windows 11 running on a Windows phone. You got to love that. I mean, the dedication to Windows Phone.
Where's the link? Sorry, you just got our two mugs showing here.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had it going. There we go.
Perfect.
So we've got Windows 11 running on a Lumia 950 XL.
Ugh.
That's a proper Bristowe response, to be honest. Yeah. Just no. Haters gonna hate. What can I say? This is
not haters going to hate. This is like,
why bother? Because you can. Like, it's why do you climb Mount Everest? Because it's there, right?
Yes, but just like peanut butter and I don't know, pickle juice, some things don't deserve to be together. So,
I mean, it's not a reason of should I. It's a reason of can I.
Yes, but in the movie Jurassic Park, very famously quoted, they didn't stop to ask whether they should.
Nice. Touche. The thing that's surprising here is how well it's running. I mean, it's a little clunky, but it is a beta and it is shoved onto a device it doesn't belong on.
Yeah.
But it's
the device is like, kill me.
But it's not laggy very much. I mean, it's pretty responsive.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're not doing any heavy tasking of it, but it's running the OS fine.
Yeah, I know, but even Apple would be like, yeah, thanks a lot. We did this back in Yeah, I know, but back in the iOS introduction days, they talked about how they did the same thing with their core Mac OS. So anyway.
This looks like the old not Windows Phone. What was it called? The what was the predecessor to the Windows Phone ages ago?
Windows Mobile?
Windows Mobile, that's what it looks like right there. You remember that?
Yep.
That abomination?
Franken
computing at its finest.
It's all right. Everyone had a compact. Everyone had a compact, so that was the hot OS to run.
Kudos to the young student who got this running, but I guess it's neat. I'll give him that. It's cool.
Okay.
And I thought this next article really kind of it doesn't even deserve a segue because I think we just by our attitudes here you can understand where this is going. But the title of the article is "Can People Still Play the Same Games as They Get Older?"
Right.
And this is one that I always worry about in the back of my head because I'm still an avid gamer. This one talks about kind of the metrics behind the tapering off of your reaction time.
Yes.
And there's been a couple of these studies This one, they talk a little bit about how many milliseconds response time degrades as you get older. And the other one that I saw, including this one, both say that you're kind of hitting your peak at about 20 to 22 years old.
Yep.
So if you are above the age of 20 years old, you're already in decline. So whatever. And I guess this adds about a 200 millisecond to 400 millisecond response time to your reaction time as you age. So people in their late 40s, early 50s are most at risk for this. So you're not going to be the quick reaction time sharpshooter in Call of Duty or Counter-Strike or those
Right.
great fast Twitch games anymore. But I'm holding my own. I do pretty good. I'm
All
not
right.
doing too bad. But I'm only
I don't.
24, John. So
Sure.
I've only been in the decline for 2 years.
Okay.
So, you know, what can I
Yeah,
say?
I don't play video games anymore. As much as I used to, that's for sure. There's the occasional game that I'll pick up and tinker with, but I don't play the games that the kids play these days, like Fortnite and such. My kids do.
Really? So my experience has been I haven't had any real negative impact on my gaming performance. So I've been pretty lucky, I guess. I jam with the kiddos on the Fortnites and the Minecrafts. And when you get older, you got to throw like the word "the" in there where it doesn't
Yes.
belong, and pluralize things where they don't belong too. So it's the Fortnites and the Minecrafts. We play those, and it's funny because I play really high impact fast Twitch games like
Mm-hmm.
Counter Strike and everything. My entire life I've been playing those. So Fortnite actually felt a little slow to me. And the first time I played with the kids, I had a 14 kill streak to their like 2 or 3, and they got very upset with me, and they lured the old man into the storm and then left me there purposely so I didn't steal their kids or their kills anymore. Their kids
Okay.
steal their kills anymore.
Fair enough.
It's a lot of fun. We had the kids over for the older kids. I've got a 24-year-old and a 19-year-old that are out of the house. We had everybody back this week for the 4th of July week. We played lots of games. We played Among Us. We played Super Smash Brothers and some other VR stuff. We played a lot of VR actually as a
Yep.
group. It was a lot of fun, John. You would have loved it. You'd have been the life of the party.
Sure. Get
But
this off my face.
I have to say, the winner of the Smash Brothers tournament was this old man right here, this guy.
All right.
So I could still beat up children, and I am happy about it.
Wow.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'll take the wins while I can get them. You just have nothing to say at this point, John.
No, nothing.
I beat my children at video games. That's all I
right.
have to say.
Yes, nice,
That's-
nice intentional pause there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What's this one about, John? We've got a Wi-Fi card helper of some kind.
Yeah. So if you go to WiFiCard.io, this is a little pet project that someone built. Basically, obviously when you go to people's houses and apartments, they're obviously asking, what's the Wi-Fi password, etc. Basically, this is a simple sort of utility site where you can publish the network name and password, and we'll persist it into a QR code, and then you can tape that to your fridge or put it in your wallet, etc. And then basically have that available for guests, etc. If you want, you just basically just point your camera's phone at the QR code, and you can connect automatically. So a little utility app there.
So it was actually a conversation we had with the kids while everybody was here for the break, and they were saying that it is common practice to put the Wi-Fi name and password on your router, and this is something I was not aware of. Like
Hmm.
this, I guess I don't go to too many people's houses and
Okay.
mooch on their Wi-Fi because I have a 4G connection, and the kids apparently this is what they do is they go over to their friends and stay the night and stuff. I don't have sleepovers at this age anymore. You stop doing that when you turn 24, like me. Yeah, because I'm 24. But no, the kids they still go over and have sleepovers at friends' houses and whatnot. And they said, Dad, how come we don't have our Wi-Fi name and password on the router? And I didn't know this was a thing. Like, if anybody in chat is familiar with this practice, let me know. But this is what all the friends are doing.
Sure.
And the kids didn't know. They were over some friends' houses, and the parent or the friend was they were like, what's your Wi-Fi password? And they're like, oh, look at the router, like, just it's right there. Like, they were just
Yep.
supposed to know.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't do this. So our router's like not in the main living space. It's downstairs. It's
Yep.
kind of obscure looking little device. It's not your it's a Ubiquity router, so it's a little just tiny white box. So I
Yep.
wouldn't expect to even put it there, but apparently I'm being a bad host and I need to drop this over there. So this QR code, does this work on like every type of device?
Presumably people who have mobile phones. Most phones OSs now can interpret QR codes. So the assumption here is that people are going to use this for mobile devices.
Yeah, I was asking because you know, the emoji here shows a Windows phone. I had to double check since we were talking about
Sure.
Windows Phone earlier. No, I think
Yes.
this is actually just the OS's interpretation of
Ah,
that
yes.
emoji.
Yes, that's
And
right.
since I'm on Windows, which is quite ironic that Windows Phone is gone, rest in peace, Windows Phone, yet the Windows operating system still uses it for the emoji.
Yeah, I've got an iOS device on my machine with that emoji.
Ah, okay. Very cool. Wayback Machine.
Yes.
I think I'm missing the right link here. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can
there's
find it.
a
Yeah,
there's a
there we go.
downloader for this. So I provide the link for Wayback Machine just to give people context. So oftentimes there's parts of the internet that you may want to go to that you haven't seen for a while. And there's a variety of reasons. This is a project that started years and years ago. There are a variety of reasons why you may want to do this. Just for nostalgia, or possibly you need to look at some information that's been taken offline. This is like the ultimate cache, the the cache of all caches. The Internet Archive Wayback Machine is basically a repository of as much of the internet as possible. And so you basically type in a domain name and it will give you a list of snapshots over time. So you can actually see how things have changed. This is really useful if you want to get some old information. And the intent of this is to basically keep an archive of what the internet looked like back in the day. Now there's a little utility up on GitHub called the Wayback Machine downloader. And this is a little utility that you can grab that will actually pull down a archive of an internet URL that you have. So the thing about the Internet Archive is Wayback Machine is that when you hit a link, it's navigable through their interface. But using this utility, you can now pull down that archive and have a copy of it locally. So I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. While you're chatting about it, I was navigating to an old website of mine. This is from 2015.
Yep.
So it's about 6 years old. It was way back when I was in my early 20s. And this was a food blog that I had for a while, and it got to be kind of something I quit supporting, so I left it up for a little while and then eventually took down. But I still
Yes.
go back to the Wayback Machine to grab my own
Hmm.
recipes from time to time because I don't keep them like in a book or something. But it'd be cool to use this downloader
Yes.
and download them and bring them offline. maybe print them out or something, put them in a PDF or something like that.
Sure.
That would be pretty cool. So I'll have to check this out. So it looks like it's something you run from the command line.
Yes.
It runs on Docker, maybe?
It runs.
Oh, it's an alternative installation.
Yeah, that's the default way is through Ruby. There's a gem that you'll download and then
excellent. I like Ruby.
Run it through the CLI.
Very cool. Yeah, I have Ruby installed on the machine, so I'd have to just install the gem and have at it. This is really nice.
Yep.
I like that. Yeah, I'll have to. And if you ever want to go look at some old recipes of mine, they are on.
If you want to have some nostalgia, go hit the Wayback Machine. Go take a look at the internet back the 90s.
Just for giggles, I'll toss them in chat, and you can go back and look at my Master Chef days when I won Master Chef. Not joking, by the way. Not joking.
Today's secret ingredient is
I do kid a
humility.
Yeah. That was fun, but too bad the video isn't online anymore. The TV station took the video of my thing offline.
So you didn't
Wayback
meet,
Machine.
Did you meet Gordon Ramsay and all that?
Did not. He was not there, unfortunately. So these were regional competitions, and they were pre.
Oh, we've lost Ed. I was just going to make the comment about how Gordon Ramsay is the dialogue that occurs in my head whenever I write bad code. The verbal abuse, etc.
It looks like I'm back, but my Wi-Fi might have, or not Wi-Fi. I'm on a hardwired connection, but it's saying my connection is not good.
All right.
It could be the content I'm pulling up, loading something in the background, but. I was saying the regionals were not even like the show, which is kind of weird because it ended up being the show ended up being a lot different, and the preliminary shows were more like the show Chopped, if you're familiar with Chopped. So the show I was on was like Chopped. They're like, here's your 3 ingredients, make something. Yeah. And then they sent us on a shopping spree to a local grocery store for those ingredients plus whatever else we needed. And then we came back to the TV studio and cooked it. And,
I would just run to the local restaurant and buy it.
Well, all of the other contestants were with us, and so was a TV crew, so that would be kind of difficult. But I get the joke still hits.
I have no culinary skills whatsoever. So
apparently I do. So the wife and kids said you should do it, and I did it, and I won some good swag off of it. Didn't get rich or famous, but the swag was nice. I still have a lot of it actually, because it was nice equipment, so it lasts several decades. It's not throwaway items. Like good chef knives will last you a lifetime, that type of thing.
Yep.
So I've still got a lot of it, actually. Still use it pretty much daily. Anyhow, my old man rants are done and stories. What's happening in Visual Studio Code lately, John?
Yeah, just another update. Nothing too major in this one. Just give people a heads up that June 2021 version of Visual Studio Code is available. A set of updates, etc., allows you to, basically, these updates come up so often that you kind of just dismiss them outright. You're just like, just give me the latest, please. Just do what you need to do. Lots of ways in which to use this.
I like this. Why haven't they done this before? So what this I just clicked on is terminals in the editor area. Instead of having like this doofy little pop-up at the bottom where your terminal comes up, you can actually tab it like it's a code window. It just seems so much more intuitive this way. Why hasn't that been the thing since day one? I like it. Let's keep doing this. Good stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff there to digest.
Customize the scroll bar. The scroll bar stuff can get a little excessive, but it's still cool. What else we got in here? Extensions.
Various extension ads for Jupyter
Notebook debugging. Yeah, Jupyter Notebooks are I need to get into that, man. That's supposed to be some really hot stuff. I like
Yes.
the idea of the live code editor, like / documentation. Yeah. All right.
So there you go.
Top 10 Visual Studio Code extensions you cannot live without.
I know this one's obviously subjective. There's going to be obviously different lists for different people. But if you're keyboard heavy, this is a good list. There's a number of key binding and macro driven extensions that are listed here that are quite useful. The one that's listed at the bottom, number 10, is a pretty powerful one, especially if you're utilizing a lot of APIs. This one is basically like Postman, but it's called Postcode. It allows you to basically invoke endpoints within the confines of Visual Studio Code, see the result sets, etc. So you can craft requests and see responses directly within Visual Studio Code.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I like that Visuals or ASP.NET kind of has this built in now with Open API. So you kind of have this little website that runs, but being able to do it inside the IDE is cool. Just like I said, having that terminal tab is really neat. So you can put this in another tab and you just tab all the things and not get out of your IDE. I like not having to leave my visual things and go command line or go to the web or whatever. Like just staying in my tool and doing work.
Yep. Yeah. So these are obviously there's lots and lots of extensions out there. So, but these are some good ones if you're especially code heavy, keyboard heavy. There's lots of ones worth checking out. So this is just yet another list of ones that you can take a look at.
Some IntelliSense for string interpolation. That's pretty neat. I like that idea. What else do we have? Surround with. That is nice. So this is in Visual Studio proper already, but the surround with is a super handy feature. So for example, you write some code and you're like, that could have been in a loop. You just go surround it with for each, or you're like, maybe there's an error going to happen here. You surround it with a try catch, and it encapsulates that code. It saves you a couple keystrokes, but it's really super handy. So I like it, John. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
Another top 10 list. Yeah, so these are top 10 new .NET 6 APIs. Yeah, so there's a bunch of new stuff that's coming with .NET 6. And so if you want to get a sense of kind of what's a smattering of what's there, this is an opinionated list from the folks at Independ. This is basically a set of types and APIs that are new in .NET 6 worth checking out. Some of these are good, some of these are kind of meh, but definitely things worth looking at. So daytime, datetimes have always been persisted as this long sort of string and can be pretty esoteric in terms of formatting them. We now have a date only and time only types, so you can represent them without the one including the other.
Yeah, so it looks like these are structs. So they are definitely new. They're not system types though, right? They're structs, it looks like.
They're not reference types. They're structs, correct?
Yeah, but
so they're not classes.
Yeah.
So you have new types like priority queue. Link now works with index and range operators. There's a bunch listed here: first order default, last order default, single order default, queries, etc.
I like the range operators. That's pretty neat stuff. I love link.
Max by, min by, distinct by. These are set operations, obviously. Non-enumerating count.
So max by looks like it gives you the entire object. So this has actually been something that I've taught people for many years now, is when you use link, if you use max, for their example here, if you were to use max instead of max by and grab the price, you would grab the maximum price, not the maximum priced object. And it looks like max by gives you the full object. So if you say max by and say price, you don't get the maximum price, you get the most expensive object, which that is really cool, because before you'd have to use a complex aggregate function to do this.
Yes.
So
You'd
you'd
have
have
to
to call
basically
aggregate
compose the
on it,
object. Yeah.
or you'd have to create a custom comparer. So
Mm-hmm.
this is much easier to show people now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll have to go update a workshop that I have on that. That's pretty cool.
Cool. Non-enumerating count link method. So
Also very
batching.
important to link.
Yep.
So there was a Twitter thread I was reading months ago about this, and they were doing some performance comparisons on count versus
Yes.
other methods of counting things, and they were telling people to not use the count method because it was more expensive than several other ways of doing this. So that's pretty cool. Zipping 3 sequences, holy cow! I don't know if I've ever run into need for a triple zip, but sure.
Yep.
List of T, stack of T, queue of T.
Ensure capacity. So it's a test to basically make sure that internally they're maintaining an array of store items.
So you don't overflow it, I would assume. Ensure capacity. Thus you know when the final size of the collection to be filled. Void costly resizing operations. Interesting.
Right.
I'll have to read more on that one.
Mm-hmm.
New wait async methods. All right, we'll have to dig deeper into some of these. There's a lot to unpack there. You start getting into async and await, and things get crazy. Speaking of .NET stuff, we have a common friend and ex-coworker of ours, Jen Looper. Fantastic person, just to know. Jen's done some really great things for the community as far as like front-end foxes, and now she's over at Microsoft working in ML, and she has a repo called ML for Beginners there, and it's getting quite popular. So it hit like 1,000, it was several thousand stars. It looks like it's almost up to 10K now. This was not the case even just like a week ago. It was, I can't remember what milestone she was celebrating, but it was not even nearly this much. So it's really grown since just about 2 weeks back. And it's kind of like one of those one-stop shopping things. If you want to learn machine learning, you go here, and there is a GitHub repo of all the things broken down into lessons. And they're all by different authors within, I think they're almost everybody here, if I'm not mistaken, is within Microsoft. A lot of them are written by Jen herself. But as you can see, there is quite the library, at least 25 items in here. And I think if I'm correct here, a lot of this is with, what is the ML stack I'm trying to think of here? It's the Google stack. TensorFlow. I believe most of this is probably in TensorFlow.
I think it's listed on the right there as Jupyter Notebooks, using for the basis of the delivery, and then they're using TensorFlow as the runtime.
Yeah, that's what I meant for the ML runtime. It's TensorFlow, and Jen's been working with TensorFlow since I've known her. Like shortly after we started working together, she jumped into TensorFlow, and I jumped into Azure ML. And we both went back and forth, kind of teaching each other some things about machine learning. And then she went over to Microsoft and really just applied this stuff. So make sure you hit a star on this and follow it as well, because if you're interested in machine learning at all, this is a great place to get started, and some great people to learn it from. So why not just give that a follow on your GitHub page?
Wicked.
All right, John, your favorite.
Sure.
This isn't, no, it's not Can I Play Doom? I wish it was. I don't have a Doom story this week. But we can talk about VR a little bit. And this has been circulating through the social medias the last few weeks. There's been some positioning by Facebook to start doing advertising in their VR ecosystem. So the Oculus is, for a short conversation, we could say that the Oculus is essentially being the price is being brought down by the fact that Facebook has plans to do more with it. I'll just say that it's subsidized technology. So they started putting ads on certain games. The negative rub here is these are paid games on a paid device. So it's not like free content you're getting on the web and you might get some advertisements in there. This is, a $300 headset that you're paying $30 a pop on a game for. And there was quite a backlash by users of one of these games. And they went in and they did a ratings bomb on Blaston, which is the name of the game. So they went in and gave it negative reviews, like 1 star, and just brought their reviews down to, very poor levels. So the Blaston people came back and were like, okay, we get it. We get it. We're pulling out of the ad campaign stuff, and here's your paid game back. So that's kind of the gist of it. And this article kind of talks about the ins and outs of all that stuff. So this was some negative publicity for some games that jumped on this bandwagon and tried to serve some ads because they weren't free games. If it's a free game and it's ad supported, that's one thing. I'm not too big of a fan of this stuff unless it means, getting more people into the ecosystem. That's a good thing. But when it's in your paid content, it hits you the wrong way. It's not something we should be too happy about. Any last words, John? You look like you're thinking very hard over there.
Well, whenever I hear VR and advertising, the left side of my brain turns to the right side of my brain and says, I'm going to take a nap. So
So you're all out on this one. I don't blame you. It's already kind of a new and struggling ecosystem, so hopefully they don't shoot themselves in the foot with it. But
I don't care.
We digress.
I don't care what they do.
GitHub Copilot. You've got a link to the... Oh, I think I grabbed the wrong link here, John.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let me go fetch it while you talk a little bit.
Yeah, so GitHub Copilot is really, really interesting. This is a extension that has been provided by GitHub, and it's utilizing an underlying engine. It's utilizing a bunch of underlying things, but basically what it does is it basically complements your IDE with suggestions. It's sort of like IntelliSense, but it is doing predictive code writing for your environment based on what you're typing. It will do a look ahead to an AI algorithm and a bunch of other things to try and assess what it is you're trying to do. And it's almost like magic to some people. Basically, based on what you're typing, it's doing predictive text for coding. So if you've ever written a document in Word, for example, and you're saying, you start writing the date, or you start writing to whom, and then it says it may concern, as, do you want to complete this? And you can do tab completion. This is sort of the same thing, but in the sense of coding. So GitHub Copilot was released last month, I think, and it came out to a lot of fanfare. And the reason for it is because a lot of people were like, wow, this is awesome. It's like a perfect, it's aptly named because it is just like having someone there writing code with me. Now, GitHub Copilot is utilizing, obviously, a lot of this open source code that's out there. It's utilizing, I think it's MIT or GPL licensed code, and providing essentially a look-ahead mechanism utilizing an AI for writing this code. And a lot of people have asked a lot of interesting questions around this, like, what sort of code is being suggested? Is the code that's being suggested actually reasonable? Is it well thought out, etc.? And so people have done assessments of this. People have obviously added their 2 cents to it. I think ultimately Copilot is a good thing. I think anything that can help us write better code, if it is better, or make our jobs easier, is going to be better. I certainly see this as a much needed improvement over the sort of low code, no code solutions that are out there, because at the end of the day, I think people have to write code at some point. I mean, as much as you want to have the drag and drop sort of environment, I think you need to have the ability to write code. And so a feature like this is important. Now, this is another complementary article. So in addition to Copilot itself, there was a risk assessment done of Copilot and the types of code that it was suggesting. And so, use at your own risk. Obviously, this is generating code. It's not running the code, obviously, but it is generating code for you. So make sure that you validate what's being written. But I think it's definitely an interesting time for a lot of us who are utilizing it.
Yeah, I was reading through a little bit of this. Some of it's funny. With things that are new like this, there's going to be some quirks, and there's a little bit of comedy in here of like some of the code it produces and things. But it's pretty neat assessment of what's happening with this new platform or tool or whatever you want to call it.
It's sort of akin to, listen, we're all going Stack Overflow. We're all copying and pasting code. I'm joking, of course, but we're all copying and pasting code from somewhere. Let's make it easier for you. And so there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of stuff in this piece about, things you should be wary of as far as security concerns go. And I think, whether you're using AI to generate this stuff or you're copying, pasting code, like you said, from Stack Overflow, you can run into these same problems. I don't think this is inherently an AI thing. I think this is it's a complex problem, and I'm looking for an easy solution. And rather than understanding the full complexities of it, I just grabbed something and made it work. And when you grab something and make it work, that's when you get security problems. So, do your homework before you insert somebody else's code in your project is kind of the gist of this this example that was given here, I think, more than anything. That's just my opinion of it.
Yeah.
Is it making it easier for people to make security, problems in their app? Sure, whatever. But try to get your project working and then circle back and do a little risk assessment of your own on your app and make sure that there's, nothing you're exposing that's gonna put your app at risk. Like one of the things I see a lot is like demo code that I write. A lot, and I see a lot of examples that are like mine that you have an exception, you just throw the message at the user because it's an example, it's a demo. You're not going to, have a logger and all kinds of other complex things in there. You never want to take your raw exceptions and just throw them at the user because you don't know who the user is at some point down the line. And it might be somebody that can use that information against you and, hack a database or get user access or any of those things. So just be wary of code you copy and paste and try to educate yourself a little bit about what you're using before you send it into production.
Yep.
And then finally, this is a nice plug for us. Thank you, John. I didn't even see this myself because I was on vacation. But Fiddler Everywhere 2.0 is here. So Fiddler is a technology from Progress Software. It's part of the Telerik brand of tools. And we've got Fiddler Everywhere, which is the multi-platform or cross-platform version of Fiddler. So this is the predecessor of Fiddler Classic is what we call it now. And this is a packet sniffing utility that is great for developing web APIs and troubleshooting problems in your application. And Fiddler Everywhere is like the modern version of that tool. It's been around for ages, but this is a new one. We've got things like theme support now. If you look at Fiddler Classic, it has that very like Windows 95 look to it. So this is a much more modern looking version, feels a lot cleaner. It's got new UX improvements because we're running our UX team up against this and seeing what can be improved with the user experience. So it looks like we've got a pretty good milestone release here.
Hmm.
Anything here, John, that sticks out to you want to
Yeah,
talk
the rule
about?
builder is pretty powerful. This is what you would typically do in classic Fiddler as a auto reply, and allows you to basically trigger events based on rules. So you can have
Hmm.
an auto responder or reply to a certain criteria. This allows you to mock endpoints if you wish. Fiddler itself, I've been using for ages, and the one change that has occurred is they're now introducing a subscription price for Fiddler.
Hmm.
I think it's about $12, $8 a month or something like that, which I think is reasonable. Is if it's going to mean the long-term viability and success of the tool, I'm happy to pay for it. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. There are obviously alternatives, but I think Fiddler is one of the better ones. And I've been pleasantly surprised with Fiddler Everywhere. I've been using Fiddler Everywhere since the very beginning, and it does mostly what I need to do with Fiddler. Fiddler Classic obviously is very powerful, but Fiddler Everywhere gives you the basics of what you need to do work relative to endpoints, and if you're just needing a web proxy, there you go. I've been also pleasantly surprised that the roadmap's been updated. So the roadmap is obviously adding a bunch of new facilities and capabilities, and that's what I want to see. If I'm going to pay for something, I definitely want to see new features being allocated, etc. And so we're seeing that. And so if we get a increased velocity of the product releases, etc., and more improvements over time, happy to pay for it. So
Yeah, that was actually kind of the idea behind rebooting Fiddler. Is it did a lot, but the UX left some things to be desired. It was very much a developer tool, and it was written for developers at that time. If you look at it, it looks like a NASA switchboard. That is something that has changed immensely in this version. It's been kind of rewritten from the ground up, and we're looking to just really improve this thing and make it that world-class tool that it was for years and kind of started to fall behind in because it didn't have that dedicated team that you can afford when you start charging a little bit for the product. So there is a small price with it. There are also some companion tools that are coming out with this as well. So if you see Fiddler Tools up here, it is much more than just the Fiddler Classic now. So there's Fiddler Jam, Cap, and Core. Core is like, I want the engine of Fiddler in my own
hmm
app to do something
yep.
through code. So I want to do some of these filtering or the packet sniffing or whatever it is inside internally of my application, whether it's for analytics or logging or troubleshooting, whatever. You can embed that in your app, and that is Fiddler Core. Now, Fiddler Jam is really cool because this is a new thing that we're introducing for like QA teams, and this is, or sorry, support teams. So what this does is it's like a plugin that your end users get on their machine, and it logs traffic in a safe way. That traffic gets passed back to your support team at your organization. And then you can take that information and tack on, user was having problems logging in, etc., and then send it to the developer team, with the analysis of what happened and all of the traffic logs so they can kind of like replay the incident as it happened. So the devs can debug and troubleshoot something that happened on to the end user on their machine. So that whole like it works on my machine joke starts to go
hmm
away.
Yep.
Developers can't rely on that excuse forever. So you can't just say it works on my machine. Now you've got Fiddler Jam in the middle to solve that kind of complex issue that we have with the end user has different operating system or whatever, and you can catch in the logs at least the network traffic and replay through some of those steps to try to reproduce their problem. So very cool stuff there. So thanks for sharing that, John.
Yeah.
Fiddler has grown up. It's graduated high school, and it's on to bigger, better things.
Awesome.
All right. That's our show for today. Any parting final words, John?
Nope. Just keep the VR headsets off your face. Go experience real reality. Get outside. Go for a walk.
Go for a walk. Get attacked by mosquitoes.
Sure.
I've never been bit by a mosquito in VR. That's all I got to say.
All right.
All right, John. Thanks a lot. This has been Eat Sleep Code. We have shows all week here on Code It Live. So stay tuned to Code It Live all week. We're planning some big shows for later this month and next month. We've got like an ASP.NET Core Day and a debugging day and all sorts of stuff that's probably not announced, and I'm letting the cat out of the bag. With that said, this has been Code It Live. We're going to go raid our chicken life because why not? So we're queuing up to go visit the chickens. Chickens are somehow a staple on this stream. So why suppress the urge to watch chickens on Twitch? So have fun.
Sweet.
We'll see you all week long. Say hi to the chickens for us.